Welcome everyone back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, pull up a seat, sit down. We are going to be talking spoiler reviews for books. This one is actually, if you can see it, Arsene Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes by Maurice LeBlanc. Now there are actually 8 stories within this, and so that is what we're going to do. We're going to do the 8 story kind of thing. So this will be the first one for this story, and then we'll do another one for the next story. So each story will have its own little blog thing going on, and they might be short and quick because these are short and quick stories. So the first one, which I found out is actually called The Blonde Friend, is entitled The Lucky Ticket number 1514 within my book. As you can see, that's what it's named in this. This is actually a Wilco book. There was a series and I bought it, and it's from Wilco International, Mumbai, India. There's been really hard to actually find a way to put these on my Goodreads and Storygraph, and of course Fable, where I update what I read every month and everything like that, and I update how far I am, my progress and everything within those 3 apps. The thing is that these Wilco books are not in there. The Audibles are for some reason, but the actual book itself is not, and it's been really hard figuring it out. So I've been grabbing books that have a similar title but are not actually the official book. For like the title grabbed for this, like, had like 280 pages in it, and this is only 234. So yeah, there's a difference there. But anyways, back to Lucky Ticket number 514. Lucky Ticket 514 is about Monsieur Glabois, who is a college professor of mathematics at the College of Versailles. He finds a dresser that he liked in some secondhand shop. He paid like 65 francs for it, and this man came up and said, "Hey, I want to buy that from you. Are you attached to it in any way, shape, or form? Is there a reason why you wanted it? Because I want it." And the guy's like, No. I bought it for my daughter Suzanne. I'm not getting rid of it. I don't have no personal attachments to it, but I'm not getting rid of it. So Suzanne puts letters and stuff in it, and she also puts this box that has certain things in it of her father's, without realizing the significance of it. And then she leaves to go meet her father the next day for their lunch walk home. And at that time, the desk is stolen. Okay, so the writing desk is gone, and they're like, "Oh my god!" So they try to get some information about it, but they can't. And then he finds out that the lucky lottery ticket number 514, Series 23, draws $1 million. Okay, so he's like, "Oh, I think I have that," and he did have it. He purchased it from the friend who had it as a favor, and it turns out to be lucky. So you find out that, of course, Arsene Lupin's the one who stole the writing desk, and he's the one who holds the ticket. He has it. So they have this whole back and forth, like, I am the owner of it, but I have it. I have a friend who wrote a letter. The letter holds my proof, but the letter actually doesn't say his name. So Arsene Lupin's like, "Well, I'm the friend," and Mr. Glabois is like, "I'm the friend, it's mine." And they go back and forth, and then Arsene Lupin's like, "Well, here's the deal. I want $500,000 out of it. You get $500,000 out of it. We both go our separate ways." And he's like, "No, I want the full $1 million because it's for my daughter's dowry." So it's a little more back and forth than that, and Arsene Lupin takes Suzanne. Well, his blonde friend does. They get in, and they go off, and she goes traveling around France and all that stuff, enjoying her time away from her uncle, and though she wanted her uncle to go with. And he's him and Arsene Lupin arrange a way for him to get his daughter back, and he withdraws $500,000 or $1 million francs to be given to Arsene Lupin. They split in half, and Arsene Lupin comes in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I want my money. Well, he doesn't actually say it like that. And Monsieur Grabos goes, you're the guy who approached me outside the shop who wanted the writing desk. And he's like, yes. Well, I want the writing desk for a very specific reason. It is a very good writing desk. Not that it's actually good, but there's a, not a monetary value, but a different type of value. It's actually historic value. So, the writing desk of yew and mahogany was discovered in a little house in which Marie Walska once lived in whatever, I don't know how to say that, Bologna. And on one of the drawers, there is an inscription dedicated to Napoleon I, Emperor of the French, by his very faithful manservant, Mancy. And above it, these words were inscribed with the point of a knife, to you, Marie. Afterwards, Napoleon had similar desks made for the Empress Josephine, so that the secretary that was so much admired at the Malaysium was only an imperfect copy of the one that will henceforth form part of my collection. So he wanted the collection because it had historical value, because of Marie and Napoleon dedication. All he had to do was sit there and anyone. And he would have had $1 million. And he would have been out any money because Lupin offered to pay him double, triple what he. Okay, so battery died on that. Where was I? Oh, yes. So now he's out $500,000 and had to go get his daughter back. He lost more money than what he would have gained if he hadn't been so stupid and just sold the writing desk to Arsene Lupin when he first approached him. And the blonde friend, I don't know her name, but, like the blonde friend in the Arsene Lupin anime and manga is Mine Fujika? So maybe that's who it is. I don't know. But yeah, they disappear. They have no conversation. They have no way of knowing how they disappeared from the lawyer's office. Yeah, Lupin actually engaged a lawyer to defend his interests about the freaking ticket, and the lawyer actually did that. I don't remember. A Monsieur Dudornis did it. Inspector Ganimard, of course, got involved. He actually tailed Monsieur Grebus when he went to go to the lawyer's office to trade in his daughter for the money. And then Ganimard stayed around for like 3 freaking days searching for Lupin, hoping to find him in the lawyer's home, which doesn't happen because he's just not there. So, yeah. There's a lot of interesting things about that. But there is no trace of their escape. Therefore, they're here. Which, of course, they're not here. But yeah, that's what the end is Ganimard's trying to find Arsene Lupin. The narrator in this goes, I'm the one who's doing this because I have all the facts, all the ancient letters and everything. So that's why I'm doing it. But I'm wondering how he's gotten, like, insider information of, like, them speaking and stuff. But that's the end of that little one. It's only, like, 30 pages long, so it's not very, very long. Hey, everybody. Okay, so, I learned something while I was looking this up to check on something. But, the first 6 stories in here are actually one whole story. They're just short stories within a story. And then the next 2 are the same thing. They're a story, but they're just chapters. Instead of saying like story 1 and story 2, they're just saying, here's some stories. So, Arsene Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes, the lottery ticket number 514 is the first chapter in a actual story, and I didn't know that. But now I do. So, move on to the Blue Diamond. And we've listened to that already. It's already done. And the Blue Diamond has to do with Mademoiselle Antoinette, who watches over the Baron during the night. And Charles, I gotta get my thoughts together because I was just listening to this not that long ago. So Charles sits there and finds the Baron Pat dead, and then wonders about how in the hell that happened. So the Baron has his Blue Diamond. that they thought was stolen, because it wasn't on his hand, but it was actually in his hand. So it wasn't actually stolen then. But the person who did kill the Baron was the blonde lady from the previous chapter, who had sat there and kidnapped Suzanne. So Charles is suspected at first, but then when Charles says that, I didn't go back in because I can't go back in, because when he left the estate, the gate behind him locked, and they had the locksmith come back and unlock it. So the person who actually killed the Baron had to have escaped in a different means. So because of that, he was no longer considered the one who did it. Let's see. Ganimard, the inspector, comes along and he's like, I can solve this because I was here for another reason, because Lupin III's in the area, so I was trying to solve this crime. So I was put on this crime and I can solve it. So he talks to people, he does some stuff. He finds Mademoiselle Antoinette's hair that was in the Baron's fingers. They find that when they go back into the place that everything was cleaned up, and the Baron was placed on his bed instead of on the floor. Blood was gone. Hatchet was gone. It was used to kill. So, Garamond, of course, thinks Lupin's in on it. Of course, he is. He actually took the blue diamond. But what it was that the blue diamond went to auction, because obviously the owner died, and so it's going to be auctioned off. Prices back in the old days when the owner dies, and he doesn't leave it for anybody. Nobody in the estate is left the items. They get auctioned off. So the blue diamond was being auctioned off, and this woman, I forget her name. These names are hard to remember because of the simple fact that, they're just, the names are just so hard to pronounce for me. So who is the woman who bought it? Countess de Crozon. So she bought it from the auction and then lost it. Well, she didn't lose it. It was stolen. A Madame de Riel, who was supposed to be the friend who incited her to buy it, actually kidnapped it, stole it, and put a fake in a baggie to implicate Madame de Riel being the one who stole it. But Madame de Riel doesn't exist, nor does Mademoiselle Antoinette. She don't exist either. She's the friend of Arsene Lupin, the blonde lady. But they do, Sherlock Holmes and the event people do lead him around. So when the Baron's servant Charles receives a missive from Garamond to meet at the Japanese tea room, Rue Boissy d'Anglas for something, Monsieur Gerbos is there, the one from the lottery ticket. He's there, along with Léonce de Hautrec, the nephew and sole legatee of the Baron who died, as well as the Count de Crozon and his wife, the Countess Diondel, Madame de Riel. There's a Madame de Riel and a Madame de Riel. I don't understand what the difference is between them. Oh, Madame Riel. One is Madame de Riel and the other one is Madame Riel. So Madame Riel is a diamond broker. She brokers diamonds for people, finds diamonds, procures them, and then sells them off to people who want the diamonds. So Lupin led Garamond on a wild goose chase to chase this woman, who is not the real culprit, Madame de Riel, and what's her face's name? Mademoiselle Antoinette. That's where that comes from. These names. I don't speak French very well, and I'm very difficult at spelling them. So he accuses Madame Riel of being the blonde lady, and then it unfolds that, I have this note for you. And the note proves that, Lupin led you on a fairy chase tale around is, because he thought it all up after he, stole the blue diamond. So he was like, oh no, everything is wrong. So, in the next one, well, before the next one, the Count and Countess de Courson decide that they want to hire Sherlock Holmes, or Herlock Sholmes, and his best friend, Watson, I don't care what anybody says, to solve the mystery of the Blue Diamond for them. And so then we step into the third chapter, and it's where Lupin is talking with, of course, the narrator in this about some stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, we'll talk about some stuff. He mentions the lottery ticket. He mentions a few other things with the Countess Corzon and the Baron de Hautreau's nephew. And about Sherlock Holmes himself, or Herlock Sholmes, being flown into France to butt heads with him. And then, while they're in the restaurant eating and drinking and talking, who happens to walk in but Herlock Sholmes and Wilson. And they sit down right on the behind Lupin, and he wigs out just a little bit about it, because he's like, well, no, he won't find me, because he knows what I look like, even though he didn't actually get a good look at my face. He looked at my soul, and he will know my soul. Which, of course, is the truth. They do have a quick quid pro quo, and then they have a test. Herlock Sholmes has 10 days to find and arrest, find the Blue Diamond and arrest Arsene Lupin. And if not, he'd have to give up and go back home to England. So, it's afoot. So, yeah, they, that's funny. I like the part where they're like, Monsieur Wilson, my flying assistant, Monsieur Arsene Lupin. And Arsene Lupin's like, oh, shit, I got caught. And Wilson's like, why do you not arrest him? Have you not observed, Wilson? The gentleman is between me and the door, and only a few steps from the door. By the time I could move a little finger, he would be outside. Don't let that make any difference. So, yeah, like, they had their little proper quo after that. The only thing I don't like right now about this is how they make Wilson to be such a, that's what I'm looking for. Wuss. Weak. Yes, he would get, confused if a note came along, because Arsene Lupin is very good at what he does, okay? Forging signatures is very easy for him to do. So he did forge Herlock Sholmes' signature for Wilson, and Wilson got duped in that. But Wilson would not be so weak to go, oh no. You know? Herlock Sholmes says, hey, this is not the correct diamond. It's manufactured diamond. It's Arsene Lupin already has it. When he goes to confront Arsene Lupin, he actually stumbles upon Wilson. Spy. Did I tell you to hide in the bushes and spy on me? Spy on you. How do you know it was you? What are you doing here? You ought to be in bed. I was in bed. You ought to be asleep. I was asleep. So, well, what brought you your letter? My letter? I don't understand. It's a messenger brought it to me at the hotel. From me? Are you crazy? It is true, I swear it. Where is this letter? Wilson, come at once to Avenue Honey Martin. The house is empty. Inspect the whole place and make an exact plan. Then return to hotel. Herlock Sholmes. I was measuring the rooms when I saw a shadow in the garden. I had only one idea. That was to see the shadow. The idea was excellent. But remember this, Wilson. Whenever you receive a letter from me, be sure it is my handwriting, not forgery. Ah, then the letter wasn't from me? No. The way the person narrates Wilson makes it seem like he's just dumb, lame in the head, and doesn't understand a lot of stuff. So it's just a little demeaning to the person that Wilson is supposed to be characterized, because Watson is not dumb by no means. Oh yeah, they also get captured by Arsene Lupin, and then Wilson's like, well, I don't want the police. Don't you think the police knowing that we got caught by him would make a good laugh? And they're like, well, yes, of course it would, but that's okay. We need to get out of here because, we got captured. So he is very enraged that Arsene Lupin has given him the slip. Because they're like, bah, that is only child's play. And that's the only criticism I have to make of Arsene Lupin. He plays to the gallery. There is not much of a fakir, F-A-K-I-R, whatever the fuck that is. Sholmes, you are a wonderful man. You have such a command over your temper. Nothing ever disturbs you. No, nothing disturbs me. Besides, what's the use of losing my temper? I am quite confident of the final result. I shall have the last word. In a voice that trembled in rage. I think that's where I'm at about, is in chapter 4, which is actually not that far from the end. Yeah, chapter 4 is, there's only 3 chapters left of it. So, that's where I'm at in it. I will let you guys know more information the next time I listen to it, which is tomorrow. On my way home. On my way to work and on my way home. So, that's my thoughts for right now. Update! Okay, update. So, I am almost done the first story in this lovely Arsene Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes. And I've decided that Herlock Sholmes is his own person, and he is not Sherlock Holmes, nor is Wilson. That's this. No. And so, my reasoning is that something in this, like, there was a point in time when Herlock was being asked a question about the why of something, and he's like, that doesn't matter. What? Sherlock Holmes wants to solve every tiny piece of it so all the pieces are glued together. The why of something very small is significant in his brain. I mean, obviously, he needs to solve it. And Wilson is not a So, yes, I've decided collectively that Herlock Sholmes is definitely not Sherlock Holmes. Okay, there's just no different. They're different. They're night and day. Okay, night and day, and I don't want to hear no more about it. I am done. I'm through. I'm done. I just am. I am. Just, it's just this. So it's just weird. Right now, Arsene Lupin is arrested by Ganimard, and he's refusing to go to downtown. I have like 7 minutes left of it, and then I'll be on to the next part, which is the Jewish lamp part story. The Jewish lamp and the shipwreck, which is the only 2 chapters for this long-ish story. I mean, it's really odd. Really odd that Lupin is like resisting things and then he's being dragged out. But I hope they didn't hurt you. Get them out of the elevator. They're breaking my bones. Good day. And besides, it's erased now. Yeah. Yeah, so, it's only like 4 and a half pages left. And it's 7 minutes. That's a little weird, but that's okay. I don't mind at all for that. So I'm like 60-something% way through. And, yeah. I can't wait to read, to listen to the rest of it. Listen to the rest of it. I'm going to say that unless Lupin escapes, he's going to prison. And do I think he deserves it? Yes. He didn't make his love of his life currently murder somebody, but she did do it. Even if it was unwilling. As Sherlock Holmes says, basically he had fits of madness and he attacked her and she defended herself, but he still died. And she covered it up. And she's in on a lot of stuff with Arsene Lupin. She's a blonde lady. And she's deeply in love with him. And he says he's deeply in love with her. But I don't know if he's deeply in love with her or not. But it's been interesting to read what Maurice Leblanc thought. Herlock Sholmes and Wilson we're going to do to solve a crime they were called in for. I will let you know the rest of my thoughts when I am finished with it. Which will be tomorrow. And then I'll be into the new one. The next one of Sherlock Holmes versus Arsene Lupin. I wish they would not have it described as like short stories in here, because that's just a little irritating, because 1 through 6 is literally its own story, and 7 and 8 are its own story. They're not separate, although I guess the way that they serialize things, it's possible that they separated them because they're serialized within a magazine or something. Anyways, I'll see you in the next update for the Arsene Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes 1. Okay, alright. So I finished it, and Arsene Lupin escapes, of course. As always. He does it through getting on an elevator and escaping through that. I mean, it's a, what was it? A balloon, I think he said, something like that. Oh, the dirigible balloon. So, yeah. With the help of his accomplices, of course. So, there's that. I don't really have much else to say about this, really. So, my favorite character was Arsene Lupin. My most disliked character was Herlock Sholmes. What was memorable was how Arsene Lupin was always one step ahead of Herlock Sholmes at all times. My favorite passage from it is, Lupin clearly shattered by this final blow. His forehead was marked by deep wrinkles. He was still dejected. However, he pulled himself together, and notwithstanding his defeat, he exclaimed in a cheerful tone. Of course, he was talking about how he wanted to make a deal with Herlock Sholmes, because Herlock Sholmes gave him a deal first and said, hey, I won't go and give out all the information about your blonde lady woman that you're in love with if you give me the blue diamond. And at first, Arsene Lupin's like, no, you have no way of getting a deal with me. And then it turns out that guy in mind comes in with a bunch of men, and he's like, well, that's too many people. I want to make a deal with you now, Herlock Sholmes. Keep my lady friend out of all of this, and I will give you the blue diamond. Herlock Sholmes had a one-up one time. My favorite quote, I understand. Arsene Lupin inspires only limited confidence. He might pocket at the 500,000 and not restore the hostage. Ah, monsieur, please do not understand me. Oh, people do not understand me. Because I have been obliged by force of circumstances to commit certain actions a little out of the ordinary. My good faith is impugned. I, who have always observed the most scrupulosity and delicacy in the business affairs. Besides, my dear monsieur, if you have any fear, open the window and call. There are at least a dozen detectives in the street. So, that's from the very beginning, because, like, he did something. He kidnapped a woman to get somebody to comply to something, and it was like, oh my god, my reputation's in now tatters because I had to do something that I normally don't do. But your blonde lady kills a person. Blonde lady kills a person. A person. That's terrible. So what I thought about the end of the story, I'm glad that Arsene Lupin escaped. The mar on him will disappear because he did not kill the man. The blonde lady did. So yeah. What story did it remind me? Not a story, but a manga called Magic Haito. You gotta read it. Go show Ayama. This story, as you know, is part of a series called Arsene Lupin, and there are many of them, and some of them are not translated into English, and I'll never be able to read them. I read this at 3.25, because even though it was longer, I mean, like, I love the fact that there was 167 pages. That was quite beautiful. Wonderful. It was a Herlock Sholmes ship. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So, if you think this is like I'm not really going to description, why don't you drop it down below. I'll see you next illusion.